"You don't belong here anymore." That's what the house says to me before anyone else does. Not in words, but in the creak of the wooden steps, the porch light flickering like an old memory, and the way the front door sticks like it's resisting my return. It's been 7 years. 7 long years since I walked out of this place with nothing but a duffel bag, a notebook full of sketches, and a half-broken heart. And now, I'm back. For one night. For one dinner. For my mother's 65th birthday, and for something much bigger that no one in that dining room knows is coming. Funny how it's always the homes we grow up in that hold the loudest silence. The air smells the same, lemon wood polish and old fireplace soot. The walls are still covered with framed blueprints, awards, and newspaper clippings. My father's legacy, my brother's accolades, floor-to-ceiling proof of the people they decided were worth remembering. Not one sketch of mine is up there. Not the award I won for sustainable housing design back in grad school. Not the cover of Urban Form that featured my revitalization project in downtown Raleigh. Just nothing. As if I stopped existing the moment I declined the job offer at Halston & Halston, my father's firm, and left for a preservation fellowship in Lisbon instead. I hover in the entryway longer than I mean to. My palms are dry, my jaw locked. Some people would call this confidence. I call it containment. "Ella?" My mother's voice carries from the kitchen, like she half believes I won't come. "It's open, honey." Of course it is. I push the door the rest of the way in and step onto the hardwood that still groans beneath the exact same rug. The past doesn't haunt this house. It lives here. And tonight, it's all sitting at one table. In the dining room, the table is dressed with the same white linen, the same wine glasses, the same mismatched silverware we've had since before I hit puberty. My mother's already fussing with the candles. My father sits at the head, whiskey glass in hand, and right beside him, like an heir to a throne no one questioned, is my brother, Dean, flanked by his picture-perfect fiancée, Lisette, who smells like too much lavender and smiles like she practices in the mirror. Dean stands as I enter, arms open in a performative welcome. "Look who remembered we exist." "Hello to you, too," I say evenly, stepping into the light. My mother wipes her hands on a kitchen towel and comes in for a half hug. "You look tired, sweetheart." I smile. It doesn't reach my eyes. "Long drive?" Truth is, I flew in this morning, direct from Albany, where I'm currently based. I spent the afternoon reviewing the city's latest zoning proposals, then checked into a hotel 2 towns over. I haven't stayed under this roof since the day I left it, and I'm not starting now. Dinner is already in full swing. Prime rib, garlic potatoes, and asparagus that's been steamed a little too long. My mother serves it like she always has. Graceful, practiced, unaware of how tense the air becomes when we're all seated. The conversation flows in one direction, always toward Dean, his newest real estate project in Charleston, his upcoming TEDx talk, the mixed-use complex his firm is pushing through with the Halston name slapped all over it. I nod. I sip my wine. I let them speak over me. At one point, my mother asks, "And what about you, Ella? Still doing renovations?" I glance at her. I'm with the Office of State Heritage and Preservation now. We oversee major development proposals, especially near historic sites. "Oh," she blinks. "So, paperwork and rules, mostly?" "Something like that." Dean chuckles. "Sounds like someone's got to play the fun police." I look at him. I could say it right now. I could tell him I've already reviewed his firm's proposal for the Charleston site, the one that would bulldoze a Civil War-era district if not significantly revised. I could tell him that I've already flagged 2 of their design plans as non-compliant and that the final meeting is scheduled for tomorrow morning. But I don't. Because tomorrow, when I walk into that conference room as lead conservation officer Ella Monroe, they won't be able to talk over me. They won't even try. Tonight, I'm just a daughter. The one who left. The one they forgot to keep in the picture. And I'm okay with that. For now. As dessert is served, store-bought cheesecake my mother insists is just like homemade. I excuse myself. I walk past the living room where Dean's baby photos are framed in silver, where my father's honorary doctorate hangs proudly. I climb the stairs slowly, my fingers brushing the banister I once slid down as a kid, and enter the room that used to be mine. It's a guest room now. The bookshelves are empty, the quilt has changed. The only trace of me is a faint dent on the windowsill, where I used to rest my elbows to draw. I sit on the edge of the bed and open my bag. Inside is my badge, my credentials, and tomorrow's presentation notes. The seal of the state of South Carolina shines at the top of the packet, and below it, Monroe, Ella A., lead officer of Heritage Oversight. I smooth the creases in my blouse. My outfit for tomorrow hangs in the closet, perfectly pressed. It's not a uniform, but it might as well be. Tonight, I sleep in a room that forgot I ever belonged here. Tomorrow, I walk into the room where I hold all the power they never thought I'd have, and I won't say a word they don't ask for first. The meeting is set for 10 a.m. sharp at the State Annex in Charleston, inside a clean-lined modern glass building that overlooks the river. It's only 10 minutes from the historic district, the very place Dean's firm wants to rezone and partially demolish for their new, heritage-inspired mixed-use complex. The irony would be laughable if it weren't so infuriating. I arrive early. Always do. The front desk attendant greets me by name. "Morning, Officer Monroe. Coffee's fresh in the briefing room if you'd like." "Thank you, Carl," I reply, flashing my badge to the security scanner and stepping into the elevator. This building doesn't smell like home. It smells like purpose. Clean paper, hot coffee, a hint of citrus cleaner. It's not sentimental. It's efficient. It's mine. I take my place at the front of the room, laying out my materials on the glass conference table. The chairs slowly fill with engineers, project managers, legal reps, and 2 city council observers. Everyone's on edge. They know this is the final review. If we find inconsistencies with preservation codes or environmental standards, the entire project gets delayed. Or worse, shut down. At 9:58 a.m., the door opens again. Dean walks in, and when he sees me at the head of the table, his eyes lock on mine like someone spotting a ghost. I don't flinch. "Morning, Mr. Halston," I say, professionally. No smile, no wink. Just fact. Behind him, their firm's urban development VP frowns at the name placard. "Lead Heritage Officer, Ella Monroe," he reads aloud. "Wait, you're my sister," Dean finishes for him. His voice is oddly flat. I nod. "I was brought in for this project 6 months ago. The committee believed my work on the Battery District restoration would bring valuable insight to this case." No one speaks for a moment. It's a heavy pause. "Shall we begin?" I say. As they shuffle papers and open laptops, I stay calm. My voice doesn't shake. My pen doesn't twitch. I'm not the woman at the dinner table anymore, answering polite questions between someone else's success stories. I am the gatekeeper now. Dean's proposal starts well. Polished visuals, confident jargon, rehearsed charisma. He knows how to sell to donors and investors. But I'm not either of those things. I'm a preservationist with authority under state law. As he gestures toward a rendering of the new complex's facade, I stop him. "Mr. Halston," I say, tapping the corner of the document. "This entire facade overlaps with the original footprint of the 1863 Bell Foundry, a protected industrial landmark. Was this not flagged during your site evaluation?" Dean's jaw tightens. "We submitted an environmental impact assessment last quarter." Which didn't include a cultural footprint review, I reply. That's under my jurisdiction. Per Code 4.6.2, any encroachment within 30 meters of a recognized landmark requires either full archaeological clearance or redesign. The room shifts. People scribble notes. One legal rep begins typing furiously. Dean tries to counter. We believe the structure was beyond restoration. We've got internal reports. Then you'll need external verification, I interrupt smoothly. Submit independent confirmation or revise the plans. No exceptions. He swallows hard. Of course. I continue through the agenda. Notes, objections, requests for compliance reports. Every sentence is measured, every point backed by legal code and historical precedent. I'm not petty. I'm not spiteful. But I am surgical. This is not revenge. This is justice. With documentation. By the time the meeting ends, Dean's collar is damp and his voice a full octave lower. He looks tired in a way I've never seen before. The others nod politely, shake my hand, and murmur about follow-ups and resubmissions. For them, I am the state. For Dean, I am something far more complicated. When the room clears, he lingers behind. I didn't know, he says finally, voice quiet, as if afraid someone might hear him admit it. You didn't ask, I say. It's not bitter. It's just true. He exhales. They're going to be furious. I raise an eyebrow. Because their plan violates code? Or because their daughter is the one enforcing it? He doesn't answer. We stand in the empty room, surrounded by charts and renderings and cold coffee cups. There's a version of this moment where I gloat, where I remind him of every time he dismissed my work as charity architecture or academic fluff. But I don't, because that would mean I still need his validation, and I don't. I gather my documents and slip them into my leather folder. You have until next Thursday to submit a revised proposal, I say evenly. After that, the site review escalates to federal. Dean nods, lips tight. Then, as I turn to go, he says something I don't expect. You were good in there. I pause at the door. I wasn't performing, Dean. I was doing my job. His face colors. I know, I didn't know you'd built all this. I tilt my head. That's the thing about blueprints, right? You don't see them unless you're actually looking. Then I leave. Outside, the air is brisk and golden. Late autumn in Charleston. I zip up my jacket, walk back to my car, and let the weight of the day settle in my shoulders. Not in a bad way, in a solid, earned way. It's not over. They're still my parents, and that conversation will be harder. But today, I built something, and they saw it, whether they wanted to or not. That evening, I sit in my hotel room staring out at the Charleston skyline, lights reflecting on the water like scattered truths. My phone buzzes on the nightstand. It's a message from my mother. Hope today went well? Dinner at 7 tomorrow? Simple, punctuated. No emojis, no hint that she knows anything has changed. I type out sure and delete it. Then retype it. Then delete it again. What I want to say is, I know you've been hearing things. I know Dad's been pacing around the house trying to figure out what to do next. I know Dean isn't taking calls tonight because he's unraveling how I became a woman with power when he wasn't watching. But I just type, yes, I'll be there. Because part of me still clings to the hope, maybe foolish, maybe fragile, that they'll see me, really see me. The next day, I drive in early, not to talk, but to breathe. I park 2 blocks from the house and walk the neighborhood. Nothing much has changed. Same trimmed hedges, same overpriced colonial revival facades, same air of polite suburban superiority. The sidewalks are cracked in the same spots they've always been. I step over them like I used to. When I arrive at the house, there's a strange kind of stillness, like the walls are holding their breath. I knock. This time, my father opens the door. That alone is jarring. He never opens doors. Ella, he says, just my name. No tone, not cold, not warm. I step inside. The scent of thyme and baked chicken greets me from the kitchen. The table is set for 4 this time. No guests, no extras, just the core family. Like some forgotten ritual we're suddenly pretending to honor. Dean is already seated, sleeves rolled up, nursing a glass of wine. He nods. Doesn't speak. My mother is at the stove, back turned. I see her shoulders rise and fall, measured, controlled. She used to hum when she cooked. She doesn't tonight. We sit. The food is quiet food, noisy in preparation but silent on the plate. Roasted vegetables, warm bread, chicken with lemon. Comfort food from someone trying to communicate without saying anything. For a while, we eat in near silence. Then, finally, my father clears his throat. So, he begins, your brother tells me you're the one reviewing the Halston project. I dab my mouth with my napkin. Correct. You didn't think to tell us? I meet his gaze. I sent you my appointment letter last year, and the interview clip when I was confirmed. No one responded. He leans back, glass in hand. You could have followed up. Why? I ask, voice steady. So it could be ignored again? Dean exhales sharply through his nose, half a laugh, half a surrender. You were brutal in that meeting, he says, not unkindly. I shake my head. I was factual. Your proposal violated preservation code. He nods once. I know, I'm revising it. Already working with a new historian. My mother sets down her fork. We didn't understand, Ella. What it meant. That job. What you were doing. I tried to explain. Years ago. You said I was wasting my education. We thought you were just mad at us, she admits, blinking fast. We didn't know how to reach you after you left. You never really tried, I say softly. And then it happens. My father puts down his glass, looks straight at me. You were right not to come back, he says. We weren't ready to see you as anything other than the girl who left. I blink. Those words, hit something tender and old and sore in me. A bruise I didn't know was still healing. My mother reaches across the table, her fingers brushing mine. Would you be willing to walk us through what you do? Not the press clips, not the fancy titles, just the work? I pause, then nod. I identify spaces that matter. I begin. Buildings, streets, old churches, hidden places that carry history. I make sure progress doesn't bulldoze memory. I help cities grow without erasing their soul. Dean watches me carefully. So you're like an architect of the past? I smile faintly. Something like that. He nods. I'd like to show you my revision before submission, if you're willing. I study him for a long moment. Not the golden boy, not the successor. Just a man, unsure. I'm willing, I say, but I won't go easy on you. I wouldn't want you to. We clear the dishes slowly, carefully, as if not to break the new balance in the air. My father brings out coffee. My mother adds sugar to mine without asking, like she used to. It's not a full repair. It's not a hug and cry kind of healing. It's structural, foundational, something we can build on. Later, as I leave, my father follows me to the door. For the first time, he opens it for me. You didn't take the path I laid out, he says. No, I answer. But you built something stronger. He nods once. No parade, no speech. Just a moment. And that's enough. For now. The drive back to Charleston the next morning is soaked in sun and quiet. I take the long way, along the waterfront, past rows of pastel homes and iron gates grown heavy with ivy. My head is clear, but my thoughts are thick. Last night changed something. Or maybe it revealed what was always there, beneath all the dust and silence. I arrive at the office early again. It's a habit I never grew out of. Being early means never being surprised. It means control. Control is what I've used to survive rooms where I wasn't invited but still had to lead. Today's room is different. The meeting is off-site, held inside a city-designated adaptive reuse building that once housed a textile mill. Now it's a light-filled co-working space with exposed brick and polished concrete. I like places like this. Places that remember what they were, but still evolve. I step inside the conference area and there it is. The table again. Same officials, same city reps. And at the far end, my brother, Dean, flanked by a small, newly assembled team. He looks different today. No power suit, no smug confidence. He's not here to dominate. He's here to be heard. "Morning," I offer as I take my seat. "Good morning, Officer Monroe." One of the council members nods. We begin. Dean presents a leaner, humbler proposal. He's cut the tower, scaled back the retail square footage, and redirected the pedestrian path around the old foundry wall. Instead of erasing the past, the new design frames it, literally. A glass walkway now wraps the original structure, turning it into a museum feature. I study the renderings. It's good. Really good. When he finishes, I lean back, fingers steepled. "You've preserved more than compliance," I say. "You've preserved story, intent." Dean exhales. It's subtle, but I see it. The others murmur in agreement. The city planner beside me smiles, clearly impressed. One of the junior architects from Dean's team clears her throat. "Officer Monroe, I know this might be unorthodox, but would you walk us through how you'd frame the site, narratively, like the emotional map of the space?" I blink. No one has ever asked me that before. Not here, but I nod. People should walk through that plaza and feel like the place remembers them. It should whisper, not shout. The old ironwork? Leave it exposed. Let rust become part of the texture. Add a plaque, but not too polished. Make people pause. Make them feel like they're inside time, not just beside it. The room is quiet. Dean looks at me like he's seeing me for the first time. Not the sister who left. The woman who understands something deeper than walls and zoning laws. After the meeting, I gather my things. Dean catches me at the elevator. "I meant it," he says. "What you said in there, about letting places whisper, that stuck." I smile faintly. "You always tried to build things that looked impressive, but people don't remember buildings. They remember how buildings made them feel." He nods. "I was trying to prove I could lead. I thought if I filled the space loud enough, no one would question it." I glance at him. Did they? He doesn't answer. He doesn't need to. As I step into the elevator, he calls after me. "Hey, do you remember the old tool shed behind Gran's house? The one you used to sneak into and draw in?" I pause. "Yeah. She kept some of your sketches. I found them last year, folded in an old recipe box. I almost threw them out. I didn't. They're in my office now." My throat tightens, unexpected and raw. "Why?" He shrugs. "I guess I needed to remember who you were before I forgot to keep looking." The doors slide closed before I can respond. Back at my desk, I file the updated project report and flag it for final review. It'll pass now. The city will approve it. My job here is almost done. Almost. But something's begun. Not just for the project, for us. Because this time, they didn't just see the title behind my name. They listened to the voice I never stopped sharpening. And maybe, just maybe, that voice is finally being heard not just in boardrooms, but at home too. I return to Albany a week later. The air is colder now, and the river's gone slate gray with early frost. My apartment greets me like it always does, quiet, organized, full of subtle strength. There's nothing grand about the space, but everything in it is mine. Chosen, earned. I hang up my coat, slip off my boots, and set my folder from Charleston on the kitchen counter. I don't open it. Not tonight. Tonight, I'm letting things settle, letting the silence speak a little. The next morning, a package arrives at my door. No return address. Just my name in careful script. Inside is a framed photo. Me standing beside the historic Foundry wall, mid-briefing, gesturing toward the design boards while council members take notes. Someone must have snapped it during the final review. Tucked into the bottom corner of the frame is a sticky note. You were right. It's better when it whispers. D. I sit with that for a while, fingers tracing the edge of the frame. It's not an apology. Not exactly. It's acknowledgement. That's something. Later that week, I'm invited to a virtual panel about sustainable heritage design. I've done a dozen of these before, most of them quiet, academic, attended by grad students and sleepy officials. But this one is different. It's co-sponsored by the Halston Institute. Dean's name is on the welcome slide. I smirk. When my segment starts, I speak like I always do. Clear, slow, grounded. I talk about memory embedded in spaces, about the invisible weight of stories beneath cobblestones, about how progress isn't linear. It's circular, layered, and sacred. Then, during Q&A, a participant unmutes. It's Dean. He doesn't ask a question. He just says, "You once told me that buildings don't need to be loud to be powerful. I didn't get it then. I do now." I nod once, silently. The chat explodes with hearts and clapping emojis, but I barely register them. Because that moment, that's louder than any applause. Weeks pass. I get a request from a publisher asking me to contribute an essay to a collection titled Women Who Design Memory. I say yes. Then I panic for a few hours. Then I start writing. The words come easily at first, then painfully. Then with a kind of grace I haven't felt in years. I write about leaving. I write about the first door I ever closed behind me and what it felt like to wonder if I'd ever be invited back in. I write about the power of preservation, not just of buildings, but of truth, of identity, of the versions of ourselves we fought to keep alive. I don't name my family, but they're there, in every line. One night I get a text from my mother. "Read your essay. Twice. I didn't know you felt all that. I'm sorry, I wasn't better at seeing you." I don't reply right away. Then I send, "I needed to stop needing you to." A minute passes. Then she replies, "That's fair. But I want to try now. If that still matters?" I don't know if it does. But the door is open. And maybe that's the whole point. A month later, the Charleston project breaks ground. The state invites me to speak at the ceremony. I stand on a makeshift stage looking out at the crowd. Contractors, preservationists, city officials, students, and my family. They're all there. Dean in the front row, not dressed to impress but to support. My mother with her hands clasped tight in front of her. And my father, standing a few feet behind them, watching with that same furrowed brow he's had my whole life. But now, somehow, less rigid. I speak, not to prove anything, just to say the truth. History, I tell the crowd, is not what you tear down to make space. It's what you build around, what you elevate. As I step off the stage, the applause fades beneath the sound of shovels breaking ground. The work is beginning. Again. But this time, I'm not starting from scratch. I'm building on something I laid brick by brick. A voice. A presence. A foundation they can't edit. I don't go back to the family house for months. Not out of bitterness, just inertia. Life keeps moving. Projects, panels, reviews. My schedule fills up with purpose, and I let it. But somewhere in the quiet spaces, between deadlines and early morning walks, I feel it growing. A pull. Not backward, not to what was, but maybe toward what could be. The invitation comes on cream paper, hand-addressed. Dinner, our place, Saturday. Just us. No pressure. Love, Mom. I stare at it for a long time before I RSVP. The house looks the same, but I don't. This time, I bring something with me. A folder under my arm and a calmness I didn't have last time. My mother answers the door. She's wearing that soft lavender sweater I always liked. The one she never wore when company came. Hi, sweetheart. Hey, Mom. We hug. It's stiff for a second, then it softens. Inside, the table is set again, but it's different now. Less performative. More real. There's a mix of new and old dishes, a crooked candle in the center, and mismatched napkins that don't try to impress. Dean is already there, sleeves rolled up, stirring something at the stove like he belongs in this kitchen. My father hovers nearby, looking unsure but not uninviting. You came? He says. I did. Dinner is roast chicken again, but better this time. Everything tastes warmer, or maybe it's me who's warmer now. We eat, we talk. Not about titles, not about projects, about music, about the garden my mother's trying to revive, about a documentary Dean liked so much he watched it twice. Normal things. Halfway through dessert, I pull out the folder. I brought something. They pause. Watch me. I've been working on a proposal, I explain. A community initiative, historic spaces turned into learning hubs, not just restored, but activated. I want to pilot it in this district. My father leans forward. You want to do it here? I nod. It felt right. Dean eyes the folder. Can I? I hand it over. He flips through the pages with a careful attention I didn't expect. This is bold, accessible, clean. He looks at me. It's beautiful. My mother presses a hand to her chest, quiet. Is this why you came back tonight? No, I say. I came back because I wanted to see if we could share something. This is just what I brought with me. My father clears his throat. What do you need? I don't flinch. Just support. Not money. Not oversight. Just someone to believe it matters. He considers that. Then, you've got it. Simple. Direct. Not flowery. But it lands like a beam across my chest. After dinner, we move to the living room. My mother brings out an old photo album. One I don't recognize. Inside are things I thought were lost. A childhood drawing of the house. A faded program from my first solo exhibit in Lisbon. A photo of me in a hard hat, pointing at scaffolding, laughing. We've been collecting these, she says quietly. We just didn't know how to give them back. You didn't have to, I reply. You just had to see them. Dean pulls out his phone, shows me a shot of a mural painted on the side of a refurbished factory. Inspired by your notes, he says, credits in the plaque. I nod. My voice doesn't work just yet. Later, before I leave, my father walks me out. The porch light casts long shadows across the steps, just like always. You taught us something, he says. I raise an eyebrow. Did I? He smiles, rare and weathered. That a blueprint isn't a law. It's a suggestion. But some of the best structures were built off script. He extends a hand. Not firm, not forced. Just open. I take it. For the first time in my life, it feels like he's not trying to pull me into anything, but stand beside me. And that's everything. 6 months later, the sun sets across my apartment windows in warm gold. Albany's spring is late, reluctant, but it's here. I open the curtains to let the light in, casting long shadows across my living room, the kind that make everything feel cinematic, like time itself is pausing to breathe. There's a quiet hum in the space, my space. The walls are lined with books, blueprints, and little pieces of memory. A Polaroid of me and my grad team holding blue chalk-stained hands, a sketch of that foundry in Charleston. Framed now, its lines bold but gentle. And on one high shelf, standing alone, is a small metal plaque. Preservation begins when someone believes it's worth remembering. It was a gift from Dean. He mailed it after the community initiative broke ground. His firm stepped in, not to lead, but to back it quietly. No strings, just presence. He sent a note with the plaque that read, simply, "You taught me to listen, so I'm listening now." Tonight, they're all coming to dinner, not for a celebration, not for a milestone, just to sit, to be. I've cooked something simple: rosemary chicken, garlic potatoes, and a tart my mother taught me to make when I was 13, but never once praised until I was 30. The doorbell rings. I open it to find them there. My mother holding a salad bowl like a peace offering, my father with a bottle of wine he's probably never tasted, and Dean carrying nothing but a smile that feels real now. They step in like they've done it before, like they belong here. And maybe they do. We eat. We talk. The conversation dances, loose and genuine. There's laughter. Real, ugly, beautiful laughter. At one point, Dean knocks over his glass and my mother gasps like the world's ending, and we all crack up so hard we forget what we were even talking about. And then, without prompt, my father raises his glass. He doesn't toast often, but when he does, everyone stops. "To Ella," he says, voice steady, "who taught us that worth isn't about being the loudest or the most followed, but about standing firm in your own damn blueprints." The room holds its breath. Then the clinking begins. I try to speak but can't. I just nod. They see me. Not the title, not the resume. Me. Later, as we say goodnight at the door, my mother lingers behind. "I kept one of your old sketchbooks," she says quietly. "The one with the green spine. I read through it last week." I raise an eyebrow. "Really?" She smiles. "You wrote something in the back. A quote. Do you remember it?" I think for a moment, then shake my head. She reaches into her purse and pulls out a folded page. It's my handwriting. "When they don't give you a seat at the table, build your own and make it so sturdy. They come asking how you did it." I blink hard. That line. I'd forgotten it. But it's never stopped being true. "I think you did that," she says. And I think, for the first time, I believe her. After they leave, I curl up on the couch with a blanket and tea. The room is quiet again. But it's a different kind of quiet now. Not lonely. Full. My phone buzzes. A message from one of my preservation interns. "Saw your TEDx talk. You made me want to build again." I smile. Not because of the talk, but because someone, somewhere, is picking up a pencil, sketching a future that makes room for who they really are. That's what I fought for. That's what I keep showing up for. Because not all victories are loud. Some are soft, earned, lived. And when they finally come, they don't sound like applause. They sound like a quiet dinner at your own table, with people who used to look past you, now leaning in to listen. Not because you demanded it, but because you never stopped becoming someone worth hearing, and they finally noticed. But even if they hadn't, I still would have built it all anyway. For me.